The beginning of wisdom is the definition of terms. Socrates. Let words not obscure the essence but lead to it. Let structure not confine but reveal. Binah, the gate of understanding. Welcome to our journey through the tree of life. Today, we open the third gate, Binah, a space of understanding, structure, and depth. If you feel that in this world it's not enough to simply know, but you long to understand, if meaning calls to you and you're searching for inner ground, stay with us. Subscribe to the channel to follow the next gates. Like this video if it resonates, and share it with those who seek stillness beyond the noise. Now, let us enter Binah. There is a flash at the beginning, but what turns it into a star? There is impulse, and there is form. How does structure arise from the infinite? Binah is the moment when the boundless agrees to be contained, when silence becomes word. She does not speak first. She waits until the impulse ripens, for she holds not just the ability to see, but to understand. Binah is neither the beginning nor the end. She is what gives form to the idea. If Chokhmah is illumination, then Binah is comprehension. She does not rush ahead, but builds, structures, and shapes. She is the mother of forms. In her, an idea becomes a concept. A structure becomes a dwelling for the spirit. Binah is when an idea finds its form and inspiration learns patience. The algorithm, how structure emerges from the infinite through the lens of Binah. 1. Impulse, Keter. A potential arises. It has no form, only direction. A quiet, something must be. 2. Illumination, Chokhmah. A flash of insight, the seed of meaning. A raw intuition, not yet shaped. Like a sudden inspiration, brilliant, but undefined. 3. Unfolding, Binah. A slow process begins. What was that? Binah starts asking questions. Where is the beginning and the end? How can this be explained? How could it be applied? She takes the seed of the idea and gives it form, boundaries, language, and structure. Like an architect receiving the vision of a dream house and beginning to draw walls, floors, and stairs. 4. Birth of meaning. Thanks to Binah, the idea becomes clear, defined, ready to be realized. It can now be shared, communicated, embodied. Infinity is the ocean, Chokhmah, the drop that leaps into the air, and Binah, the vessel that catches it and gives it meaning. The formula of Binah, intuition, Chokhmah, plus structured thinking, Binah, equals understanding potential plus form equals meaning. Everything begins with an impulse. It has no form. It is a call from the source, an infinite yes to something new. Then comes the flash, illumination, sudden like a spark against the dark. That is Chokhmah, but to understand it is not immediate. And so Binah arrives. She does not rush. She gazes slowly into the light and begins to ask, where does this begin? How is it structured? Can it be shared with another? Binah is the kind of consciousness that can give shape to chaos. If Chokhmah brings illumination, Binah brings understanding. She builds structure for energy, language for sensation, form for intuition. It is the moment when an idea becomes explainable, when knowledge is born from feeling. Imagine the infinite ocean, Keter, a rising wave, Chokhmah, and the shape of a vessel that catches the water and channels it into a river. That is Binah. Binah is when a flash becomes a path, when inspiration finds logic, when the infinite becomes comprehensible. She is the mother, not the one who gives life, but the one who gives form. Binah is the womb of meaning. She carries the idea within her. She does not rush it. She does not push toward action. She watches. She waits. She processes. Her power lies in structured thinking, in patience, in the ability to hold chaos without breaking. She creates boundaries, not to limit, but to make understanding possible. Without her, the illumination of dogma would vanish like a dream. Binah preserves, she formulates, she deciphers. The archetype of Binah is feminine consciousness capable of carrying an idea to maturity. She is the inner mother, the wise woman, the philosopher, the nun, the architect. She does not invent a new idea, she makes the idea clear. In us, she shows up as the ability to reflect and analyze, the drive for order, the deep comprehension of essence, and even the need for solitude to let everything fall into place. In spiritual alchemy, Binah is salt, the crystal that preserves the essence. Binah is not emotion and not action. She is the understanding from which both are born. What does it mean that Binah gives form? Form, the possibility of manifestation. Without form, an idea cannot take shape in the world. It's like a thought without words. It cannot be shared. A feeling without awareness. It cannot be fully lived. An intention without a plan. It cannot be realized. Form is the bridge between energy and action. Form equals boundaries, but not a prison. Binah introduces boundaries that allow something to be held, like a vessel holds water. They are not rigid walls, but structure, support, and direction. Examples. When you write a book, Binah is the chaptering, the flow, the structure. When you feel intuition, Binah is what translates it into a language others can understand. When you are inspired, Binah prevents your energy from scattering and channels it into something real. Without Binah, energy leaks. With Binah, energy gathers and transforms. Form equals thinking and language. Binah shapes our mental processes. Through her, we distinguish concepts, build arguments, reflect, analyze, and construct meaning. To say that Binah gives form means she translates intuition into concepts. She creates structure that allows manifestation. She defines boundaries that guide, not restrict. She activates reason, analysis, and coherence. Not everything must be understood at once, but everything can be understood if you give it time. Binah says, pause, look again, reconsider. What lies behind this impulse? She doesn't just teach you to think. She teaches you to build thought like a temple, not to get lost in ideas, but to carry them to maturity, not to argue, but to seek essence, not to judge, but to discern. Binah is when you create not just form, but meaning that can live inside that form, because form without meaning is a cage, and meaning without form is smoke. The path of Binah is the path of conscious thought, patience, and deep comprehension. But most of all, it is the path of meaning-making. Binah asks, why does this matter? Where does it lead? How does it fit into the whole? When you seek answers that go beyond the surface, you are in the field of Binah. When you create structure that allows another to understand your experience, you are embodying Binah. When you find meaning in chaos, and that meaning becomes your anchor, that is her gift. Ways to cultivate Binah: keeping a journal of reflections, consciously naming the meaning after key events, turning feelings into words and symbols, listening for the deeper meaning behind others' words, practicing staying with a question longer than usual. Binah is the power that searches for essence, because when meaning is found, The path appears, where form becomes rigid. Life disappears. Where order no longer breathes, the fire goes out. The light of Binah is clear. But when we cling too tightly to form, we forget the essence. Knowledge turns into dogma. Structure becomes a prison. And patience, cold detachment. Common distortions of Binah. First distortion, dogmatism. I know the right way, and it cannot be otherwise. Binah loves meaning, but can become trapped in it. When someone believes they've already understood everything, they stop listening. Form becomes dead. Truth becomes sealed. Second distortion, rigidity and control. If I don't hold everything together, it will all fall apart. In trying to protect structure, Binah may begin to control everything: feelings, people, processes. But rigidity suffocates flow. Third distortion, suppression of intuition. If it can't be explained, it doesn't matter. In the pursuit of logic, dogma, the primal intuition, the creative spark, can be suppressed. Form is meant to serve meaning, but meaning must never become a prisoner of form. Fourth distortion, mental burnout. If I think it through enough, I'll be okay. But a mind without the heart burns itself out. When thought becomes endless analysis and meaning becomes too heavy, Binah overheats. The mind keeps working, but feelings dim and energy fades. Signs of burnout, mental fatigue, inability to relax. Compulsive overthinking, loss of joy, emotional distance. Binah in balance creates meaning. Binah in distortion makes meaning unbearable. Binah does not ask for much. She asks for silence and a question. What is the essence? What do I truly understand? How can this be expressed more clearly? Listen to what you already know, but have not yet named. Take a feeling and give it words. Take chaos and find a pattern. Take an idea and build it a home. Let's try a micro practice of Binah. Fall silent for a few minutes. Take any thought, feeling, or recent event, and ask yourself just one question. What does this mean to me? Don't rush the answer. Let it ripen. Binah loves maturity. Meaning is not something found. Meaning is something born. Binah is the gate of understanding. Pass through it not with intellect, but with ripeness.